Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Good
the stream.
evening, everyone.
It looks like you can hear me and you can hear Nat. So, just if you can just confirm if it all sounds all right.
Yes, let's hope that the sound is all good. You might hear a slight echo, as in the background, but that's just because my room is currently empty. It's not because the mic is being glitchy. I just, yeah,
Yes, all good.
I have no carpets at the moment, so.
You can hear. Excellent. And yes to the echo. Excellent. Echo is good. Echo is fine. Echo is really
Echo's fine. Okay, great. So, Matt, what are we doing tonight? What are you showing us? Because obviously, I get the feeling it's gonna be a bit of a long one tonight.
Oh, it's me doing the chill out stream. Therefore, I'm going to chill out. You know.
Exactly.
So we're going to take a look at, in the normal chill outs, I like to do a little bit for everybody. So start off with a little bit of German. So we're going to look at Rosig with the BR155 because I love the BR155. Then we're going to have a look at the Great Western Express route, and we're going to just, after driving a bit of freight with the 155, I think we'll all be desperate for a bit of high speed. So we'll do the HST from Paddington to Reading. And then we'll cut a line in the middle, and we'll pop over to the Long Island Railroad with an 8-car train, and we'll run a Hempstead to New York Penn service. So it should be a nice, easy run. It shouldn't be too long. None of these services are especially long, but probably looking at a good couple
Shouldn't
of
be
hours.
too long, he says. Okay. Sure, Matt.
If it's 2 hours, it's a short stream. Yeah. Come talk to me when we want to do a 5-hour stream.
Yeah. Now, the reason we're streaming these ones tonight is because the Preserved Collection, as some people know it, is now available on the Epic Store. So if you've been playing on Epic, you can now purchase the full collection on the Epic Store, should you wish. So that's great. And you're actually playing on Epic tonight, aren't you, Matt?
I'm using the Epic build now, yes, because I really like it on the Epic Store because the downloads are so much quicker and faster. It's great to have the full collection there over on Epic, and the plan is to just keep that updated now as we go with new DLC and so forth. So it's a great platform to get using.
Yeah.
Okay, now right, how do we start this thing? It's been a while. Gauge lights. Let's go with some gauge lights. Headlight. Let's get the cooling fans on. It's got some sound coming in. Good. Control lights on. Desk driver's desk light. Come on. Don't mess me around. Thank you. Let that one on. Let's get the dial lights on. Right,
Apparently, CIFA and PZB are in the corridor.
They are indeed. I will get them on in just a minute. In fact, I'll do that now. So around here, well, in fact, before we go down there, let's just put some lights on so we can see what we're doing. And then down here somewhere, we've got CIFA. And I think there's a switch here for PZB. No, it's just before we turn it on. I'm going to go for U. Just play on the safe side and turn PZB on. Right.
Good. Let's have a look. Billy Bob's asked, is the Bakerloo line 1938 stock on the livery designer? It should be.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, it should be. Don't see why it wouldn't be. And Bertbig has asked, will Dovetail ever be adding the ICE-1 to the game? I don't believe there's any plans for that at the moment, are there, Matt?
Well, when we've got plans, you'll find them in the usual place.
We're going to say it, guys. If it's not on the roadmap, not being worked on.
It's a fairly safe thing to say that we're all like trains, and if there is a train that hasn't been made, someone wants to make it. So, yeah. But these things all take time to get to.
One?
Sorry?
We're driving the 155, but which route is this?
Rosig Nord. We're on Rosig Nord. Oh, I need to put it in forwards. There you go. Now we've got a hope. We're rolling, yeah. Come on, get moving.
Where can you find the news on the plans again? So if you go on to the Dovetail Live forums, you'll be able to see the roadmap. I'm sure if I ask one of our moderators very nicely, they'll post the link in the chat for you right now. Jack Hughes says the game audio is very quiet.
It's deafening for me.
Is it? Are you sure you don't just have your volume?
Remember, it's an
down?
electric train. I mean, hopefully it's a lot louder now I'm on the outside. I mean, it is quite a quiet cab, this one. Moggy says he can hear right. Yeah, there isn't an awful lot when I'm in this particular point.
Okay.
I'll open the windows. There you go.
There we go.
Right, we're rolling. Brakes are all released and we're now on our way. So that's a Seafer. So we're running on this route. We are going from the south of the route of Finnetrop, and we're going to run all the way over to Hagen into the yard.
You chose a very rainy day.
I did that on purpose because I thought it'd be different. We always do nice, sunny, cloudy, cheerful, and I thought, every now and again a bit of rain is nice.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I'm personally an autumn clear kind of person, but, you do you.
I will. I like summer, personally. I like summer. Or autumn. Autumn I like because the trees look really awesome.
I mean, I would normally like winter, but I'm genuinely afraid of wheel slip, so I just avoid it. Mark T. CRS said, now we have the new console version of Train Sim World 2. Please, can we have HDR option?
And it is one of the things on the list to be looked at. I don't have any more to say than that, but certainly it's on the team's list to look at.
Ooh, apparently Mod Derek is a summer person. So I'd like to know, what is everybody else's weather preferences?
Mod Derek likes it bright orange, I know that.
Fat Mike's asking, Fat name, sorry, but I'm not calling him Fat Mike, his name is Fat Mike. Where can we get manuals for the trains? So, some of them have manuals, not all of them do. If you look on the forums, there is actually a getting started section, and there's a lot of really good information on there for specific trains. We do want to provide you with more manuals, more in-depth manuals in the future, but obviously that's we can't promise when that'll happen. So yeah, in the meantime, take a look at the forums. The community often share their tips and tricks as well, which is really, really valuable. And we try to update it quite regularly when Matt does some of his Professor Matt tutorials.
Pink skies for Matt, yeah, indeed, Wolf Boy. Pink sky in the morning and pink sky at night are both awesome.
Oh, I like that, yeah. You just like pink there.
I do, exactly. Pink trains in a pink sky with pink wagons.
Blackpool Matt said, outside shot of your freight car, please.
Sorry?
Outside shot of your freight cars, please.
These are Habbins wagons.
But Mike said she called me fat. I didn't call you fat, you called yourself fat. I'm just gonna call you Mike from now on. We've got some autumn fans as well. I like to see it.
I like this route. I like to come back to this route every now and again and just enjoy it. Particularly, I think one of my favourite things to do on this route now, other than driving the 155 anywhere, is the 363 shunter. Just because anyone who knows me knows I like a bit of shunting.
I actually really like the 363. I don't know what it is about it, but I particularly like the blue and white version of it.
The blue and white one came out really, really well.
I fell in love with that as soon as I saw a screenshot of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, max speed of this train. So this train's max speed is, it's got LZB. Well, in reality it does. I don't know what its actual max speed. I'm on PZBU and I'm running Mode G brakes, so I'm limited to 90 miles an hour. 90 kilometres an hour. Apologise. Who thought a train with a wheel was a good idea? When you have got 30 plus notches, a lever is no use to anybody.
Wait, there's 30 plus notches.
There's 30. You see all the notches around the outside here, and as I notch up, it's going
Oh
up
my
one at a
gosh.
time, and that's the reason it's a wheel. Because imagine how hard it would be to get a particular notch. It's not a
Plus you
slidey control like a modern electric. It's a notched control.
That's insane. Imagine how big it would have to be as well to get like 30 notches.
Right, exactly.
Train simulator driver said 363 equals German Gronk. Is that true?
Yep,
Okay.
pretty much. That's it. Met the 55. Now to get the brakes off again.
Tripag said the 155 is a really fun locomotive to drive and fun from a gameplay point of view. It's great to hear.
I didn't put the brakes into the release notch.
What did you just do? Did you just fail?
No, I didn't fail. I just,
I mean, doesn't look like
stopped.
you're succeeding.
I stopped because the brakes haven't come off yet. Because
Is this where you were supposed to stop?
yes, I chose to stop here on purpose. Absolutely right.
I think someone's telling porkies.
How does the hold notch work? So the way that the hold notch work is underneath the 30 notches, you've got up, hold, and down. So if I put it into 0 at the minute, if I push it down 1, it goes into down. Push it down 1, it goes into hold. If I now push it into up, watch the notch. Current notch indicator is that numeric here. If I put it into up, that will go up. But it holds it. It will swing back into hold, which will leave it on that notch. So I can now manually notch the train up without using the rest of the range. If I remember rightly, this is done either for shunting purposes or if there's a fault on the rest of the system. It's not used for normal circumstances. And then if you put it in down, it will then notch the power down again. Normally, like I said, you wouldn't use this. You would just tell it what notch to be in, and then it will apply the power accordingly. Now I'm in restricted monitoring, possibly because the train stopped all on its own. I have no idea how that happened.
Yeah. Don't you hate it when that happens? It's just the worst.
Yeah. Actually,
So if you notch down now, so like say you went down to 3.2, will that slow down the train?
it will apply less power. So if I look at the moment, I'm on tap 6. So if I put it on, say, tap 3, you'll see the numeric indicator has now dropped to tap 3.
Yeah, and then if you've got a separate brake, then...
So you've got a separate brake over here, yeah. So you've got the standard loco and train brakes. This is a power controller.
Yeah. I don't think I've driven this before.
It's nice. It's nice. Old school electrics are the best.
Okay.
See, people say they want an ICE one. I want an AL6. You know what I mean. People's.
Why do you want an AL6? Do I need to look it up?
Well, it's otherwise known as a Class 86.
Okay. What we're talking about here. Is it the boxy green and yellow one?
What?
Let's look one up. It says it's blue. It's blue. Whatever I'm looking at is blue.
Yeah, they are. Well, they're in all sorts. The 86s are in all sorts of liveries, but the AL6, when it originally launched, was in electric blue, I think. But they're really fun to drive.
Oh yeah, it is. It's very blue. Yeah.
Really fun to drive.
Okay. Is that on your wish list of things you would like to make one day?
Yes. Gamer Tezza, good news. There's already a 40 in the game. Comes in the heavy freight pack for Northern Transpennine.
Excellent.
Is Matt still in the office? Matt is in the office, yes. I moved myself back into the office instead of working from home, and it's easier for me to just do all the streaming here as well. Because one of the things that I found really hard, actually, and I didn't realise this for quite a while, is that working from home, you lose all the boundaries of home and work. And what I found was that mentally I wasn't switching off.
Yes, you have to be very strict with yourself, I find. When you're working from home, to not overdo it.
Yeah, and I'm
It's
terrible,
yeah.
terrible at that.
And he was dreadful. You know, like I'd message him, it's something like midnight, and he would always respond.
Midnight's
Yeah.
no time to be sleeping.
Also, you should see the space he's got in the office, right? It's really cool. He's got about 3 massive tellies all to himself.
We've only got 2. 2 of them are mine. I haven't got the one at the back wall here. Hasn't been set up yet. So you can see it on the wall just over there.
Yeah, they can see a bit of it.
So yeah, basically, I decided that I would come back into the office on a full-time basis, and I would do everything from the office, so that when I got home, I could switch off and not do any work stuff at all. And that's working really well, actually. Almost immediately, without thinking about it, I'm back to playing games again, and hopefully I'll get on to do my own streaming again at some point. So
You're doing a shameless plug on this stream, Matt.
well, I said at some point, you know. But no, I've been playing a lot of games and stuff.
Great.
So it's and playing some Train Sim World and actually enjoying it, you know, for leisure rather than playing it to test it.
Well, it's one of the things we were talking about earlier, wasn't it, Matt? You really enjoyed these Let's Play streams because they're a really good opportunity for you to sit back, relax. You know, you enjoy playing the game in your personal time anyway, so why not do it with everybody watching?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is good fun. I enjoy playing the game, and a lot of the time, I've got other things I should be doing even while I'm playing the game. I should be making notes. I should be, you know, playing it over and over and over and over, same thing over and again, just to see how has it changed from this build to this build. Is it you know, all of these different things, and it's fine. It's obviously, you know, better than doing a real job.
Better than doing a real job.
But it's not quite the same as, ooh, I fancy driving a HST today, I'll do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's whereas these streams are just a really good opportunity where we can just sit here and say, what we don't have to show anything. What do you want to drive?
Yep.
You know, and I love that. It means I can just sit back and enjoy the game.
It's quite nice having these streams because I found that for a while we didn't do them, and we were asked to bring them back because they are just nice and relaxing. It is literally just us playing the game. So, yeah. Gamer Tezza 666 said, "Can you drive with the HUD turned off?" I mean, can you? Oh dear, he can.
I always leave the top left HUD turned on. But I tell you what, for the rest of today, we will just have that top left on. Yeah. If anybody asks where the rest of the game, I'm going to leave it to the audience. You need to explain why there's no rest of the HUD on here. Yeah.
So when everyone's going, why is he stopping when he's not supposed to?
Just realised now I've got to pay more attention.
Yes, you do. You've just made it much more complicated.
Just made it much harder.
I mean, yeah, I didn't even know you could play it without the top left one on.
Well, press F1. You can turn everything off.
How did you know when to stop?
Well, this is why you don't turn the F1 HUD off.
Right.
This is why you don't turn that off, because even if you trying to kind of work out where to stop, because you can see the objective marker.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know when to go again.
Well, exactly.
So you do need the top left one on.
I would love to know if anybody's played it enough that they don't need the top left one because they know the timings, you know, like that well.
I know some people that do it, but I think the problem is that you can't. We don't provide anything in game to help you know when to go.
Yeah.
So it's really, it doesn't really work. I don't think properly without the top left HUD. It's one of the things I want to look into is a different way of having a HUD on the screen which uses less space even than this does, but means that you've still got everything you need to drive the train. Just relying on actually, you know what? Most of the information you want is already in the cab. Look there.
Well, yeah. Here's my question then. In real life, how do people know when to go because they don't have a HUD?
Well, if you're on a passenger train, there'd normally be a guard or someone. You know, either you'd get a buzz in the
yeah.
cab from the guard, or all the doors would be closed and a whistle would be blown. And, you know, there's all sorts of ways for doing that sort of thing.
Apparently people do it. So Cameron
Yeah, I
Young
know
said
people
look
do.
up PTG Rail. He's really good at it. I will look him up. And apparently the British Ace does it on VML. So that's interesting. Ooh, I'm going to look up these people. See how they do it. And look in awe.
Yeah, a booler would help greatly, Toby, totally. I'd love to get a booler in the game, but we're not there yet at the moment. A little bit too fast, slowing down.
Train World 2 with an AI guard would be cool. Well, you could. I guess you could do that eventually, right? Like with if theoretically even with like the zuzz noise or whatever it is that comes through when you're allowed to go.
Well, no. What they want is for when you pull up to a station, all the doors to automatically open.
Ooh.
Because that's really some trains, like if you're driving a 47 at Northern Transpennine, then the driver has no control over the doors. HST, the driver doesn't operate the doors. In reality, you've got a guard pressing button in the coaches to do the doors. And in the other difference from reality is that on the real trains, you generally only unlock the doors, and then the passengers open them. So there's 2 or 3, and it is something that the team have we've done some steps towards. We're not there yet, but it is certainly something that's on our radar. You want to see trams, Dean? Which trams do you want to see?
LaserJet said sometimes I pop into the British Aces stream. It's true, I do. I try to pop into a few people's streams. I like seeing how everybody's enjoying the game and stuff. So if you do have a stream that you think I should pay attention to, please do let me know. And I'll probably go and investigate.
Well, Metrolink, a good shout, Dean. Yeah, Metrolink would be really interesting to see. I'd quite like to see the Lewis in Dublin as well.
Kia Hamster asked, Nat, what is your favourite route and train in Trains and Model? I'm going to ask Matt that first and then I'll answer it. Matt, what's your favourite
route and train in TSW?
Route and train.
You're asking me about favourites? All of the trains, all of the routes.
Pick a favourite, go.
So currently probably say that Dresden Reese is probably one of my favourite routes, if not my favourite route, because I like all the variety on it.
Yeah.
And favourite train, I quite like the 395s, the Javelins from South Eastern High Speed, because they've got this really lovely spaceship cockpit, and you've got a combination of driving. You can either be doing 140 mile an hour blasting down the line, and then you can switch modes and be doing a 375 type stopping service the next minute. So one of the things I like about when I'm driving trains is I like a lot of variety, and the 395 has got variety built in. So I like that would probably be my answers. But you know what? They probably change them in 30 seconds time. So.
I know. I feel like every time I ask you that question, you do change your answer. It's quite funny.
Yeah. I'm reasonably consistent on the 395, though, has to be said.
My favourite's actually changed recently. And by that, I mean I now have a favourite. I've never had a favourite up until I moved into this new place. And do you want to know why?
Why?
Because I can see it sometimes going past. So I can see the Southeastern 375 occasionally going past.
The 375s?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're blue now, aren't they? Yeah.
Yep. And so that is now my favourite. I now like Southeastern and I now like the 375 because I can see it. And I occasionally hear the horn tooting as well, and I was like, oh, I know that horn because of the game. So yeah, there you go. That's my favourite.
Good.
Yes, please, in the chat, tell us what your favourites are as well. I love knowing what everybody's favourite is. And tell me why. Why is it your favourite? When will you do a stream for the G6? I don't have a date for that yet, but hopefully soon.
I don't think it'll be long.
It shouldn't be too long, no. But as soon as we've decided, we'll update you on forums. But yeah, should be good. Yeah, Moggy, I have no idea what your favourite loco is either. It's a mystery.
No, this is not 4K. So later, this is just running on the PC at normal resolution, where it'll have TAA probably turned on, which does make it look a bit higher definition.
So Dean McGregor Music said their favourite is 153s because they smell of railway inside and out. Do you know what they mean by that? Do they smell like a railway?
Smell like a railway. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not.
I mean, if you're a rail fan, I'm going to say yes, it is a compliment.
Probably down to sort of the age of it and just familiar smells, and which I can relate to for certainly, definitely. There is a certain odour that comes from the sort of like the diesel, if you like, and also the seats even have got a familiar smell to them.
I'm loving hearing what everybody's favourite trains are and the reasons why. They're brilliant.
Damn. Yes, indeed, Blackpool. You're probably right.
Sometimes I wish that we had smell-o-vision so that we could smell as we were going. It'd be great.
Yes, that'd be interesting, wouldn't
it? It would.
Part of me is really glad it doesn't exist. But, if I was driving a steam engine, for example...
That's what I was thinking, yeah. You'd want to. If you were driving a steam engine, it would really add to it if you could, smell it.
I still think if they could bottle, like a perfume, the scent of a steam, or a candle that made your room smell like a steam engine was bubbling away nearby, I think someone could mint that. I really do.
Do you know what? I like that idea. There you go. There's an opportunity for anyone in the chat. Scented candles that smell like...
Eau de steam. Parfum de grog. Parfum de grog. I don't think anyone needs parfum de grog.
I love it.
Parfum de grotty diesel.
Excellent.
You like Peninsula Corridor, Melbourne? Nice.
Yeah.
Would you like to drive on it? Again, I like the MP15 on Peninsula Corridor. Drive that all day.
Gamer Tessa said, I love the Class 150-2. Travelled on them a lot when I was a kid. It's awesome.
Buy a small live steam loco for the smell effects. Yeah, that's a good idea, Daytona. Although butane doesn't really have the same smell as a coal-fired steam loco. It's a good. It's still quite pleasant being around live steam, but you need to go a bit bigger and have like a 5 1/4 inch coal-fired steam loco or something.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that would make the room smell wonderful.
And probably look terrible.
I was gonna say, can you imagine the film? Crazy Dash said, am I the only one who likes to drive the F40 more than the MP36? I've completely mastered the brakes on the F40. Nice job.
Totally with you. The F40 is... I find the F40 more fun because it's more challenging.
Nicholas Pace has very enthusiastically said, Horn, many exclamation marks. Now, I think they've asked patiently a few times and I forgot to ask you. So can we,
really?
ever so nicely, have the horn, please, just for Nicholas Pace?
There you go, horn.
And Liam Eds has asked, Nat, have you met Matt in the office yet? Have I met you, Matt?
Twice.
Second time, I'm pretty sure I was like, oh, she's back.
I didn't hide fast enough the second time.
No, we had a lovely meeting in the office the other day, and it was really, really, really nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, we had a good 80-something people in the office.
Yeah, it was amazing because I met a lot of people I've never met before. I've only ever seen them on camera. So,
Worked with them for a year and now meeting them for the first time.
Yeah, it's crazy when you think about it like that. And there was one thing we all agreed on, which is that nobody realised how tall everybody else was. So you're like, oh, you're taller than I expected. Am I closer to the office now? I am closer to the office. The question is, does Matt always have the pink ears on? Yes, he does.
He does.
And everybody knows.
When I lost them, I bought new ones.
Sorry, what was that? I interrupted you.
I said when I lost the ears, I bought new ones.
Yes, you did.
And then I found them again, and now Lucy has ears. So.
Well, I've got to be honest, I really liked it when you looked like a unicorn.
That was just silly.
It was excellent. You needed like one of those unicorn onesies as well, just to go with it. I think that should be your Christmas outfit for this year. Do we have any pink locos in TSW2? We don't have pink, but we do have the purple MBTA one, don't we?
Yes, we also do have the one containers.
Oh yes, we do. Yeah, you were very happy when we had the one containers.
Particularly.
There was somebody who went to one of those events with the one container people and she came back with a mini container. I was so jealous.
Yeah, we've got it up there. It's up
Oh,
on the thing. Yeah.
I hope it got like glued down because otherwise someone is nicking that. Not me.
What is the lever to the right of the power wheel? So this thing has a force control. So this is the tractive force selector. So this is like, if I turn this to 50, then it only gives me 50% of the normal power. So it's a way you can limit the power. So you get more defined control. And then this one is the brake force selector. So if I set that to 0, then I get no e-brakes. So you only get air brakes. And if you set it to 100%, you'll get lots of e-brakes as well, so as in the electric brakes. So it's how you can control what the electric brakes are doing. In some weather conditions, I don't know if it applies so much as it works in the game, but in the real trains, I think in wet weather, I don't think they use the e-brakes as much because they're not as effective. I might be making that up. Someone did describe to me what this, in the particular case of the lever, and I thought it was weather.
Okay. So there's two questions here that are different, but they basically have the same answer. So Tomato Train has asked, do you have any plans to make Modern Caltrain? And Nicholas Pace has said, are you considering to add multiplayer in the long term? So both of those questions have the same answer, which is unless it's on the roadmap, it's not being worked on, and we don't have any news about that at the moment. If we do, we'll make a big deal out of it. So at the moment, no news. Keep an eye on the roadmap.
Yep.
And I know you get sick of us saying it. We sound like a broken record. I get sick of saying it, but it's the best way.
It's the right answer. Whether everyone's tired of hearing it or not, it's still the right answer.
Yep. Matt, has DTG considered making third-party content for MSFS Marketplace. What is that?
Flight simulator. No,
Right.
there's no plans or desires to make flight sim content. Plenty of the team enjoying playing it, but we're focused on trains.
Tomato Trim, when will the Halloween livery design competition winner be released, or did I miss something? They should have been announced last week. Do you know?
I have a clue.
I'm gonna check on that one for you, Tomato Trim, but I'm pretty sure it will have been announced during the roadmap stream on Tuesday last week.
Yeah, I thought it was as well. I didn't
Yeah,
see the
sounds
stream,
like
unfortunately.
And there might also be a picture of the winner on our social channels.
Yana Dunk says the winner was announced by
Ah,
Sam.
there we go.
It was, yes.
The other thing to do as well is have a look at those liveries, right? Some of them are absolutely phenomenal. As always, I
They
don't
always
understand
are,
how
aren't
everybody
they?
does it. Really don't.
They always are impressive.
Yep.
Outside view is a bit more tricky because I haven't got the HUD on Nicholas Pace, so I kind of need to be looking at where I'm going. But I will try and give an outside view in a bit. I think it's probably a valid one, though, to be fair.
Yeah. Let you off this one. Dean McGregor said it's announced, but apparently Nat is showing other entries in a stream. Am I? That I don't believe I am. Yeah. What about second and third place? Oh, are those the ones you need to see? Right. Okay, I will find them and I will share them, but not tonight because Matt is in control of the buttons tonight. Laser Joke said Sam hinted towards first the steam engine. I'm sure he did.
Really?
That comes as a massive surprise that he did something like that.
I think they might be trying to lead us.
I think so.
Sam's already said what it is. Can you just confirm what he said for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got tripped on Sifa because of the outside view while spotted nitrons.
Oh, we have Joe in the chat. Evening, Joe.
Evening, Joe.
Crazy Dash said he only showed the West Somerset Mastery. Okay.
Oh, the West Somerset Mastery. Yeah, I think that's a 4F steam loco being unloaded off a trailer,
Oh.
which looks
Okay.
really awesome, but it's not a hint even remotely.
Okay, well that's good.
It does look cool though. I like the idea. It's very appropriate.
I feel like you were trying to trick us into telling
Oh,
you
they
that.
were. They totally
That's
were.
absolutely a trap. Melbourne Railway Production said, I live in Australia and would love to see an Australian route. What Australian route would you want to see if you could see any of them? That's the real question.
I want to see the Blue Mountains.
Been there.
I haven't. I was in Sydney for 3 months and I didn't get my backside up to go and see the Blue Mountain Railway, so...
Been to Sydney as well. Go on. Keep naming places I've been in Australia. You know.
I've been to that really weird place in Adelaide where they have their own half time zone.
Oh, rats. I never went to Adelaide.
It tripped me out, the fact that they got their time zone is half an hour offset.
Yeah.
It's not 1 hour, it's just half an hour.
Time zone thing really messed me up, like, because I remember taking a bus from one part to the other, and then the time zone changed twice while I was on the bus, and I was like, what is happening?
I did ride up I went to the South Island in New Zealand, and we rode up the cable car up to the observatory, and that was brilliant. It was also a cloudy day, so less brilliant than perhaps it could have been, but
Yeah, that's not the best.
I did put in a request for a clearer day, but no one was listening, so...
I remember I did a lot of my travelling when it was really, really cloudy, and I was like, people said Australia was supposed to be sunny. Let's see. Can you drive a 3-car Bakerloo 1938 stock? And I suggest that you add the London Overground Watford DC line.
Well, there's no plans at the moment. So people don't know what route this is. This is Rosyth Nord.
Yes, and you are driving?
A BR155, which is an extra loco DLC. Also comes with the Founds coal wagons.
Tribehag said, the passions for trains knows no borders, all countries are welcome.
Indeed.
I agree with that. Hear, hear. Dean McGregor's asking, what is the shadow heading on the track? I know what they mean by that. You see where like the line?
The line of it's where the track is changing and the sleepers are appearing. So it's a level of detail thing. So beyond where you're seeing the line about here, the 3D sleepers aren't there, and what you're actually seeing is like a texture that makes it look like there are sleepers there. Because anywhere beyond about this point, the 3D sleepers will start moiring. You get this really horrible moiring effect. Now, they should be much closer colour than this, so it shouldn't actually be obvious where the transition is. So this is an area where that transition hasn't worked properly. We're getting better at that these days. So, but that's what's wrong here. It's the 3D sleepers appearing.
George Frost asked, when can we see another livery designer stream, Natalie? It's been a while. It has been a while. I was going to do one for the Halloween contest, actually, but it just didn't line up very well with my holiday. So unfortunately I wasn't able to do one. But probably when the next competition comes around, I'll try to do one. Because I know that people like them because they're quite relaxed. That's why we haven't.
Yeah, it's all about the imposter texture. I think it's because of the rain effect. I think the texture for the sleeper has probably got a rain modifier in it, but I don't think the brown texture does. If I remember rightly, it's something along. It's those kinds of things that have gone wrong in some places. But this was route 5, I think. This is quite an old route, and the team have learned a lot since this one. So at some point, need to whisper sweetly in Adam's ear and see if we can't get a pass over it.
Gareth Hubble was asked, are there any plans for more scenario designer streams or 4-up challenges? Maybe. There are 4-up challenges that we might be planning. You'll just have to wait and see. Let's have a look. Nat, can you please do a 150 livery design video? I mean, sure I could. What would you want on it? Is the question.
Yeah, pick a theme for Nat to do, and then she can
Yes!
deliver an awesome theme.
If I have a theme beforehand as well, normally I can practice before the stream and then...
No, theme at the beginning of the stream.
No, it needs to be beforehand, Matt, so I actually look like I know what I'm doing. Honey Hob, I'm probably butchering that name, I apologise. Matt, how did you turn off the speedometer?
Control 4, no, 5.
Sure about that?
Control 5. If you're on console, it will work with the keyboard if you've got a keyboard plugged in. But there's no way. If you're on a console, you can't do it without plugging a keyboard in.
Melbourne Railways Productions asked, can you add a 3-hour route in this game? Can you imagine?
Well, Sandpatch Grade is a good 2 hours from end to end.
True.
And if you drive it a bit slower, it becomes a 3-hour route.
So basically,
What do you mean? What do you mean by a
Sandpatch
3-hour
3
route? You know, what do you mean by a 3-hour route, really? 3 hours at 320 kilometres an hour, or 3 hours at in a Gronk. Most of the routes are 3 hours in a Gronk.
150-2 Christmas livery added to stream.
Ooh, Christmas livery.
I could try and make like a Christmas train, actually. Think about it. Well, I'll think about it. I'll see if I can fit something in. Yeah, no, I like that idea. Put my little elf hat on for everyone. Was South Mainline Rail fan asked why do you make the Lakeshore Limited a ACS 64?
Because we haven't got the diesel train that normally pulls it.
Gotcha.
It's normally a P42 DC, I think. P42 AC, something like that. It's normally a P42 Genesis train, and we don't have any Genesis trains, so it was added because there was a need to put a bit more stock in there. You only really the Lakeshore Limited comes out of Boston, goes to the other side of Back Bay without stopping and straight off, towards Framingham Way. So you barely see it. So it was really there to add a little bit of AI variety.
Nicholas Pace has asked, are you going to add a train that goes faster than the LGV? Now, I have a follow-up question to this as well. How many go faster than the LGV? Because doesn't that go like wicked fast?
So South Korea actually have the KTX, which does 350 kilometers an hour. The LGV does 320. There aren't many that go faster than the 320 kilometers an hour. You're more looking into maglev territory. Even the newer ICs, like the ICE4, doesn't even go that fast. It's a slower train. And the Japanese trains, I think, are generally 300, 320, 350. Until you get to maglev, when you're talking 500-600. But you're also not really driving them either, so it's not that interesting. So I'd say the LGV is probably equivalent. You're not going to get much faster than the LGV. Yeah, there are a number of countries up at 350 now, and TVM can do 430, can support 430, hence its name. But I think 350 is where most countries are sort of stopping at.
Which is insanely fast.
It is still very fast. They did make a TGV called the TGV V150, and that train that's a TGV. It's a 5-car TGV, normal train in quotes. And it did something like 570 kilometers an hour. Because they wanted to prove it was a test train, and it was on a piece of track that hadn't been opened yet. It was the LGVS, if I remember rightly.
Was it a straight track as well?
It was the LGVs are all straight. Very, very gentle curves, very gentle gradient changes, so that they can just go really fast on them. And they ran this thing, the V150, and it was designed to prove that you don't need ridiculously expensive maglev technology to get maglev speeds. Now, we've never done that, so it was a success, and it proved that it could be done. And then everyone said, "Well, no, we don't really want to do that." So. Oh, hello, Jamie.
Evening, Jamie. Dean's asking, how's the Skybox implementation coming along, please? Do you have any news on that?
I know that Adam is still looking into London Midlands texture update, but there are some issues with that in the uncertain weather conditions. It doesn't look right. In fact, it looks really bad. So we're trying to work out what we do about that, because while it mostly makes everything look a lot better, it's no good if it makes some things look a lot worse. So we need to look at that. So that's currently something Adam. Now, he may have already sorted that out. I don't know. So I need to check in with him. But that was the last I'd heard on that one. And in terms of other improvements to the Skybox, it's still a I know one of the guys in the team has been doing some stuff with it, but it's there's nothing to report.
Oh, that's interesting. Tripag said doing more than 320 kilometers an hour is not profitable for companies. The maintenance costs are too high compared
That makes
to
a
what
lot
I'm
of
saving.
sense. That makes a lot of sense.
That actually does that. That's how interesting. I love things like that.
And it's not like 350 kilometers an hour is slow. It's still fairly lasting along the line.
Tez said there's a video on YouTube of the record-breaking TGV. Now it's worth a view. I will look it up. Oh, do you know what? I don't have any sticky notes on my desk at the moment.
And what you could do, even though you can't make the 5-car version of the train up, you could try making it in the livery designer, because it's a really stunning livery they put on it. It'd be a really fun project. I'm surprised I've not seen anyone produce it. Maybe I've just missed it, but do a version, do it like a full-length duplex, because it's a TGV duplex essentially. It was the exterior shell was based on the duplex.
I was in Belgium recently and saw some real life. Was it what they called the TGVs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw some real life ones for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah. It's funny because like, I find myself noticing things like that now, like that I never would have before. You know, like I'd be like, oh yeah, train. Now I'm like, oh look, we have that in train sim.
Yeah, it was funny. One of the a long time ago when we set up a team. Those who have been around since early train simulator days knew that at one point we set up the marketplace team, and I set up marketplace, creating like liveries and repaints and things of just small items to put on. And one of the people I hired for that, one of the artists, who's not really interested in trains at all, interested in them from an artist's perspective, but not as a train enthusiast at all. He was saying he came one weekend after he'd been on the team for about 6 months. He'd saying he was out with his mates, and they were standing on the platform, and a train came in, and he said, "Oh wow, it's a 377." And then he realised he'd probably overstepped, and his friends didn't let him forget it.
Yeah, I get that. I can relate to that so much. Kino, the producer, said, "Is there a form to fill out or anything you guys would need from me to become a streamer partnered with Dovetail? Love your product. Would love to work closely with you guys." So I'm assuming you mean to become part of the ambassador program. So no, there isn't anything that you would fill in to become a part of that program. However, if you are a streamer, keep doing your thing, keep growing. I'm always looking for new streamers, new people that love our games, new people that show off our games. So if you would like, you are welcome to share your videos with me on the forums. You can direct message me a link and I'll have a look. Can't promise that you'll become part of the ambassador program, but I'll definitely take a look at your content. I like watching other people play our games, it's fun. It's nice seeing everybody enjoy it.
It is good fun. I quite often peek in on people who are playing the game, and
absolutely,
it's good fun watching people play.
Yes.
I like watching when they don't get it right either, because it's like if the game is not helping you, then that's one of the most invaluable things that I can see when I'm watching people play the game is where the game's getting it wrong and you're confused.
Yeah.
Because if you're confused, then that's a key area that we need to think about. We've done some work. Some of the stuff we've done you would have heard me use the phrase back when we did Train Sim World 2, where we talked about onboarding and the first user experience and so forth. And a lot of that came from watching people playing the game and looking at what didn't go right. And in some cases, we had some people into the office. Sam arranged some playtesting, and watched what people were doing with the game and the common consistent things that we were all thinking, well, this is obvious, you just do this, and no one got. It's just like, oh, it's not obvious. Okay. Really, really useful stuff. The problem is, we play the game all the time, we're so in that world that sometimes we need someone to pull us out and slap us silly.
To give you, I found that when I first started, I really struggled to get the trains moving. That was something I had an awfully hard time with. Even when following the tutorials, I was still struggling to get a train moving. Whereas now, even with the limited train knowledge I have, I can generally get the train to go. If nothing else, I can get it to move. But that's only because I've got all this knowledge I've built up over the past year because we play it so frequently.
Yeah.
If you're brand new to trains and you know nothing about them, you are going to struggle to get them started. And I think that's why people might have noticed the tutorials these days tend to be a little bit more in depth. So we also cover how to recover from emergency stops now as well, because that is something that was stumping people constantly, myself included. But yeah.
Baked Bean Kid volunteers to slap me and would demand very little pay to do it. Thank you, Baked Bean Kid.
Oh, that's very generous of you.
Nicholas Space Matt, when you were planning Providence to Boston, why didn't it go all the way to Washington DC? Because that turns I'm going to guess 40-mile route into a 450-mile route, and that means it takes 10 times longer to make and would need to be sold for 10 times as much. And yeah, that would be a problem.
Vograk said, thanks a ton for the brake tutorial stream/YouTube video. It helped me loads with understanding how to operate different trains and how to swap between brake systems like air to vacuum and back. So I'm glad that was useful.
Yeah, I'm glad that was useful. DM saying, when can we have a tutorial on the Access and ACS? Gareth, Access and ACS. So one of the reasons I haven't done it is because there are still a few issues, and so what I want to do is do that tutorial when the issues are fixed. Otherwise, I've got to wrestle this line between, do I teach you how the system really is supposed to work and how the game is run, which doesn't help you then play the game at all and it defeats the object of playing the video, or teach you the wrong thing knowing that I'm teaching you the wrong thing. So that's the reason I'm not doing that video just yet. It's not any other reason. It is I want to wait until we've got some improvements to the cab signalling in that train.
And Liam Eds has just asked, are we going to do some tutorial streams? I thought that was a great idea. So that actually, I think Jamie mentioned a bit earlier in the chat that he taught me how to drive the Class 66 on the stream. And that was quite a well received stream where all we did was get the trains moving, emergency stop them, and learn how to recover from it. So I think we can definitely look into doing some more of them. But let us know which ones you would like us to cover, because sometimes it's quite, obviously there's so much content, it's quite hard for us to know what the most requested would be, which ones are you struggling with the most. So yeah, definitely let us know, and we'll look into planning some of those streams. I'll get Jamie to teach me how to emergency stop a train again. Jamie also taught me how to drive on Great Western Express. Liam, Jamie taught me a lot with getting trains moved. Why do I sound like I'm in the bath? That will be because I have no carpets and nothing on my walls and a very large empty room at the moment. That will be why, BT. Let's go. My life said, I'm not signed into the forums and I'm suggesting the Piccadilly line, okay, Coxbusters to Heathrow Airport and Uxbridge. I'm really sad because we don't have another tube line. Will you talk to the CEO? I feel like...
Piccadilly line is one that I'd like to see as well, but it is a monster to build. It was one we originally thought about doing, and we went with the Bakerloo line instead. At this point, we've got no plans on additional tube lines, but if this discussion comes up, if there's any movement on that, then you'll see in the usual places.
Mm-hmm. It might also be worth signing into the forums for your suggestions. It's a much better way to get them logged than on the streams. BT said, can we have frost in the weather, please? With many innocent faces.
Frost.
Frost.
Put some screenshots on the forum of what you'd like to see.
Yes.
How you'd like that to look. You know, one of the things I have to give when I'm going to give the tech art team things like, you know, weather effects and so on, I go and find inspirational images. It's like this, kind of this, and less of this bit, and like more like this bit, and I'm sure they love it, really. Daytona, the Hagen yard is massive. It's 3 yards. So this is the north yard, this is the middle yard,
wow.
This is the south yard here next to the and there's the
massive.
station down here. It's a massive area.
Vogrex asked, any plans to extend rail driver support, for example, ability to set up custom keybinds to push keys on the front of it?
Again, there's aspiration to that, there's no plans for that.
What about falling leaves on the lines? I see that a lot. What? Are you able to answer about leaves on the lines? I see that come up a lot.
So leaves on the lines is not actual leaves, you know, sitting on the track carefully balanced. Yeah. What happens with leaves when the leaves fall on the track? They get driven over and they just turn into this mulch.
Yeah.
And the trains can't get any grip on it. So one of the things that we can do, but we haven't ever done actually, I don't think, is we can mark particular areas of the track as being low adhesion. So, you know, because you find that in the railways, you'll find that there's even these low adhesion signposts. And it's because, you know, no matter how much they try and clean the track to get rid of this awful mulch off the rail surface, there's just an area where the leaves are always on it, so they just have to mark it as a low adhesion area. Now we can do that stuff, we just haven't done it yet. So it's one of the things I need to look into, is when we can find a good opportunity to make use of that. And you know, I need to see what else we can use with that sort of tech. So it's fun though.
So my life as Isaac 101 is asking, can someone tell me what the Scenario Designer 2.0 and Livery Designer 2.0 is? I don't get it.
That's
all
there is. Go on.
I was just going to say, you currently have the first version of the Livery Designer and the Scenario Designer. The 2.0, which is listed, I believe, on the roadmap, is just going to be an updated version. But I don't have anything to share with you with regards to what updates are going to come with that just yet.
Right, Great Western.
Great Western.
Explore timetable. Do a bit of HST. Let's do this one in the autumn. A bit of wind, a bit of cloud.
Kabepe, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I noticed that the brakes are hard to release on Cornwall on PC Xbox controller. Is this the root or the controller?
That's right. Brakes are hard to release on Cornwall on PC Xbox controller.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any issues with that. Have you got any, like a YouTube video, Kabepe, about about, you know, showing the issue? If you have, ping me a DM so I can see what you mean. Or if you've seen somebody else with it, then ping it over. And what I'll do is I'll try over the next few days to plug my PC Xbox controller in and give it a go.
If you're on the forums as well, please feel free to put it in the technical reports and ping me. That way, if other people are experiencing the same thing, they can also provide us with a bit more evidence.
So Michael's saying Diesel Legends is not working on Epic. Okay, we need to make a note of that then. There's no reason for it not to work.
I agree.
I did notice it didn't offer me a timetable selection actually, so...
oh really? So even you can't get access to it?
No, it doesn't seem to want to.
I will flag that.
So we will make a note and find out why that is and fix
Yes,
it.
we will.
Why doesn't the 422 from HRR layer into SKA? It does, doesn't it? It runs the S-Bahn services, I thought. Or am I thinking of a different train?
I don't know.
Oh yes, HST.
There's a problem with the 3-7 brakes on West Cornwall. They keep changing back to air rather than back in. Yeah.
Yeah, Rivet are aware of that issue. That one's annoying.
Yeah.
Once you know about it, though, it's not too bad. Is it the... Oh, it could be the Rhine Royal File 422. 422, Joe. Come on, these numbers are important. You know that. Oh, it's only the 422. So basically, a layer has to pick one. When you're authoring a layer, you have to pick one train and do it. You can't, say, oh well, it's any 422. The layer is based on a specific train, so that's why it only works with the Rhine Royal Austin one. If I remember rightly, the other one wasn't there at the time.
I see. Can we have some horn action before people ask?
Oh, you want lights as well? Alright.
God, you didn't put your lights on?
No, I haven't even turned the safety systems on either. Total
Dreadful.
half a job today.
Right? You're driving the way I would.
Let me just check my speeds are 40 up for about another kilometre.
Gareth Hubble said, I haven't driven this for a very long time. Well, maybe this stream will inspire you to have a go afterwards. Necom Cord said, why is it when playing this sim on the Xbox Series X, every now and again the screen flashes at you? I'm assuming that'll be the texture glitch they're talking about, right?
It might be related to that. So we actually have another fix for the texture glitch coming. The team went back and had a look, because we did a fix for it already, and the feedback we got from that one was close, but not entirely. So they went back and had another look, and now they're telling me they think it's entirely. So I'll find out when that is going to get delivered, and then I'm really interested to know if that cures the flashing problem as well.
Yeah, because I remember having a conversation with you not long after the fix went out, and it was quite confusing what was causing the issue, because we thought we had it, and it turns out we didn't.
Yes. Well, it kind of got in the right area, but I think there was one other thing that had that needed to be looked at to actually cure it fully.
Kabepe said, HST sounds are marvellous.
Yeah, the MTUs are lovely. Not as nice as the Valentas, though. Let's be completely honest with each other here. But there's no Valenta sounds in the game yet, so...
LaserJet899 said, Matt or Nat, will the crashing bug on BML get fixed on Xbox last gen?
We have a fix for that as well. We now know what the cure for that was. It wasn't out of memory. It was something entirely silly.
Really?
Yep. It was basically for... I don't understand exactly what went wrong, but essentially what happened was that when you opened the doors in Brighton, it would... one of the passengers would try and get off and try and go somewhere, be told there's nowhere for you to go, and throw all his toys out of a pram in half.
That is such an odd thing to be causing a crash.
So it's basically in for those of you that are developers, essentially it asks a question, where can I go? Gets nothing
Yeah.
back, and it's not able to cope with nothing. It assumes there's always a first thing in that list. It's really, it's a fairly basic error in checking return values. So that's been resolved. Again, I'm just waiting for a confirmation of when that one will come through.
And I'm sure it will come.
That are all platforms, Jenna Dunk. All platforms.
Yeah.
So crashes in Brighton should be all fixed by that one.
Yeah. On the topic of crashes, what about console crashes on Riesa Dresden?
I think those are still memory related and exacerbated by the 101 being present. Not because of anything wrong with the 101, just that the 101 bulks the memory usage up. And I don't have any advance on that one yet for you, so it's still on the list that the team are looking into.
Yeah. So,
Old Oak Common there on the right hand side. Old Oak Common doesn't exist anymore. So this is actually a look into history now. None of this exists. All gone.
Really? Why?
Yep. You can see the construction starting here. This is related to there's a new station being built here, and this bit here in the back here I think is where all the new 345s exist, are maintained. And there's a big station, Old Oak Common Station, going in there for part of the Elizabeth line. Possibly even already is there, to be frank, at this point.
Cool.
Yeah, this route is based in 2015, so it's kind of like as the works are just starting to kick off. How about Spectrum crashes after you spill beer on your rubber keyboard? I think they're probably your problem to deal with, Baked Bean Kid.
Yeah, not sure we can assist there, but try not spilling anything on your keyboard is usually a good shout.
I'm not going to say anything about that. So I can speak from my glass house that I would be standing in on that one would.
Is it true there's an update improvement coming for the Arosa line timetable? I have nothing to share with that today, but when we do, we'll let you know.
I think Jasper's mentioned something on it on previous streams, but yeah, at this point you know as much as we do.
Yeah. You need to buy a waterproof keyboard.
If you've got Spectrum with the rubber keyboard, you pretty much got a waterproof keyboard, let's be honest.
True.
Dead easy to clean. You just unscrew it, take it apart, pull the rubber keyboard out and wash it.
Wolf Boy said would love to see a Loco add-on of an early version of the HST.
Me too. You imagine a bit of Paxman Valenta scream. It's the train that had the most emotional impact on me when I was younger, just because they're so loud, standing on a station platform when one of these things revs up to leave, and you're like, wow, oh my god, the noise just keeps getting louder, and it's amazing, and then it sort of dies away as the coaches start rolling by, and you're like, oh, that was pretty impressive, and then every single time you get caught out and forget that there's another one on the back of the train. It goes, "Roar!" Just at the end of it, scares you out of your wits. I mean, I was pretty young at the point, but it was clearly, given it was an HST. But so good. I definitely love to see something like that. It's a matter of finding the right time to do it, because you can't just take this train and paint it blue and get the old HST. It's a different cab, a different nose. It's got completely different interiors on the coaches, different sounds. Physics are around the same, so it's at least half, if not more, of a completely new train. If you're going to do it properly. Oh, shed, yes.
Ooh, Row Network has just asked a really interesting question, which is, what is Dovetail's opinion on Train Sim World modding? What is our opinion on it, Matt?
I think it's cool to see what people are doing with it. The only caution I would give with anybody using mods is just be aware of what mods you've got, and if you start experiencing problems, pull them out just to one side and just make sure you can rule that out. And also, if once you've done that, you can then do a verify, and then you can put your mods back on again. But there's some really amazing stuff. It's unfortunate only PC users benefit from the modding community. And I know that drives the console users up the wall, but nothing to be done about that. That's the nature of the PC, as opposed to the console. But yeah, it's like most things, when you're downloading it off the internet, just make sure you read it, understand it, and if you're not sure, to be honest, I would stay away, just purely because you can get yourself into some problems. The nature of mods actually on TSW, because they're just .pack files, means they're relatively straightforward. You're not messing with files and opening Notepad and stuff like that. But yeah, it's there's some fun to be had, but we use it with caution.
Yes, absolutely. Cannot stress enough. If you are not sure what you're downloading, don't download it.
That's a rule for life.
Yeah, because do not want people to ruin their machines just because they're not sure of what they're doing. But yeah, if you understand mods and you like them, the community have created some wonderful ones.
Stopping at Slough. I picked the one of very few services that stop at Slough. Unbelievable.
Excellent.
.3 miles to Slough.
Yeah,
is it half the services that stop at Slough? Alright, fine, baby kid. I don't know what I'm talking about. He'd be slapping me with a beer-soaked Spectrum next.
Matt and Nat, have you ever seen the Midland Pullman Class 43 HST? Yeah, I haven't.
I've not seen it in person, obviously. I've seen lots of photographs of it. I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the fact that it's different. I've always liked the Midland Pullman livery, and I like the Pullman units as well, which the one is mimicking. So I'd love to see one of those back on the rails, but I don't think any of them exist. I think they were all lost.
Mm-hmm. Dean McGregor said, I hope DTG look into making the audio system automatically play small, medium or large crowd sounds based on the number of passengers spawned, as sometimes there are empty stations playing very loud crowd sounds. I get that. I can understand that request.
So the system kind of does that, but it's based on... So we have these... You'd have heard me mention previously about like passenger spawn curves, which is one of the things we adjusted for rush hour. And the audio for a station is based on the passenger spawn curve. The idea being that at rush hour, it dials the audio up, and outside of rush hour, it dials it back. It's not linked to the number of passengers you see on the platform, because, certainly until rush hour, it was always disproportionate. There was far too few, and that would mean everything would really quiet all the time. But I think there's a sort of a somewhere between the two, so that you don't end up with people and no noise, or one person on a big station and tons of noise. So that's why the disconnect is there. The audio is kind of like, well, how do we put the best audio experience we can, even though the characters aren't quite living up to what they should. Now with rush hour, that should be improved, but it's that's how we got here, though.
Matt, is it easy to get passengers? Oh my god, I can't even pronounce that.
Lichteinsteigen. Don't board, essentially.
Oh, I'm so glad
it's
you
like
saw
not
that.
in service. We don't have anything like that. No. Well, if a train has a load-unload instruction, then and you open the doors, then passengers will board it. So in the game, if you just stopped at a station and opened the doors and without a load unload instruction, then they wouldn't get on board that. So it's kind of, it would be something that could be added to the scenario planner potentially. Although if you make your train so that it's when you add a service, you can tick a box that says whether it's a passenger service. If you don't tick that, then it doesn't get load unload instructions. So if you put a passenger train on but don't tick the passenger train box, you can stop anywhere you like and no one's getting on or off it. I think that'll work.
Carmad 24/7's asked question: does London Commuter have rush hour passengers on the Series X? Because it seems pretty lacking in
London Commuter doesn't have rush hour passengers anywhere.
Yeah. And that's to do with the same issues, the performance issues we were talking about earlier. So I'm just gonna, because I think we've kind of opened the door slightly here for a lot of rush hour type of questions. We don't really have anything new to update you with on this stream in particular. When we do, we will probably write an article about it. We will share it in the announcements on the forums. We'll be very vocal when we've got updates to share with regards to improvements on the rush hour routes. But for tonight, we're not really going to be able to share anything new that you don't already know or we haven't already said.
Yep. Neo Concord, there are a number of settings that aren't setting at the moment. They're not saving and restoring.
Oh, that's how you pronounce that name.
And that one is that one is one of the that is on the list of things that I want the team to look at some point. Yeah, aware of that.
I've been having a dreadful time pronouncing people's names tonight.
How do you go about, Cameron Young, how do you go about doing sounds for trains that don't exist at all? There's a number of options for doing that, and sometimes we have to use those because it doesn't matter if it exists. If we can't get access to it to record it, then the same truth still applies, really. So in that instance, then you've got synthesis as one option, although we're still early days with trying to get good at synthesis. Or you've got taking sounds from other trains that are similar and using those.
Stephen 491 said, will there ever be an option to add the class 150 to the Tees line and Northern Transpennine? Because I hate the class 101s. Why do you hate the class 101s?
It would be interesting to see. It might be interesting to do a copy timetable which allows the 150 to sub in, or maybe just have it always there. So that it's there. If you've got the 150 DLC, then it will let you drive the 150 in a secondary timetable. Perhaps it's something that I can get on the team's list to look at, but not making any promises. Do you use keyboard? I'm using keyboard at the moment, Scotty Dotty Gaming. On the console, I use the whatever the controller is, whether it's an Xbox controller or I really like the Xbox controllers, and I'm growing to like the PS5 controller the more I use it.
Yeah.
This thing on the platform. This is to stop passengers walking down here. They put these things on all sorts of platforms, and it's because they're not supposed to be walking there.
Although I feel like if people wanted to, they would.
Yeah, they're more likely to trip over and hurt themselves, so wouldn't stop them either, I guess, but...
The 101 has a very difficult learning curve. I'll say that. That's the one with the gears, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's got gears and manually that brakes. It's kind of... it's doing you over on both sides of the journey.
I think I drove that once on the stream with Jamie's help.
Ooh, 166.
Ooh.
You thought they were rows of Toblerones. No, wrong colour. Einstein was not involved in those at all. Speed limit 125.
Liam asked, is Adam allowed to add layers in first-party routes for third-party content?
That's it. There's nothing stopping him.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
No. Well, what stops him is time. They know these
Yeah,
things
well-
are not 5-minute jobs.
Yeah, okay, we've just made it sound like that's going to happen. Theoretically, yes, he can.
There's nothing stopping it happening other than time.
Yes, is he currently doing it? No.
Is it possible to use a joystick to drive and if you use key mapping software? So funny you should say that. You've seen the posts actually recently about the We Mean Green thing in Glasgow.
I will post the link in here.
Yeah, and they've been. So this has been like a stand on Glasgow Station, and inside there is Train Sim World running on PC with a joystick, and people who visit get the chance to drive the 314 on the Cathcart route. But it's set up using a joystick, and it is just using joystick key and key mapping software, as far as I understand it. It's not an ideal way of doing it, but it's the only way of doing it currently. So
yeah, they've got a booth up, and yeah, they've got the joystick. I don't know if there's another tweet with the actual image of people inside the booth, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
When we did this, were we tempted to put the Windsor line in, mate? When we first spec'd out this line, it had all the branch lines in, but it was the second route we'd ever made, and yeah, basically everyone told me to sit down and get back in my box.
Did you get too excited?
Oh, I wanted all the lines and all the trains, and it was just like, go away. And it was the right decision because, as it was, this route took a long time to make. Probably about 3 times longer than it takes to make a route now. Do you reckon it could be possible for modern community to create their own routes? Well, it's not for me to say what the modern community could do. They would prove me wrong every instance of the way. So
yeah, no. If you say they can't, they will. Just because
they're doing incredible things. I'm not sure how they would do it, but that doesn't mean they can't figure it out. So they were already doing things I wasn't sure they'd be possible to do. So I'm always impressed with the ingenuity that's going on in the modern community.
Yep. I want headlights that illuminate something other than rain. Okay.
Yeah, the headlights definitely need tweaks.
Yep. Does the horn still sound weird if you hold it, Matt? Does it still sound weird if you hold it?
Sounds fine to me.
Okay. A person, how is the Spirit of Steam development going? The chat tried to trick us into giving some information we shouldn't earlier. But it's going. Is how it's going. We haven't concluded yet. Oh, the Isle of Wight one.
I'll have a listen to that when I've not got the engine running later on.
Yeah.
Something doesn't quite sound right about it.
The PC export controller is very handy doing gears on the Class 101.
Yeah, the Xbox controller is probably my preferred way of driving the 101, to be honest. It's very convenient.
I've never really practiced with the controller. I probably should.
You definitely should.
Just so I can tell the difference.
The controller is ace. Mr. Silverworth, there are no plans to revise the timetable on this route to add rush hour traffic. You basically need to restart it from scratch to redo it. Plus, one of the problems with adding more traffic to this route, one of the things that makes it where it's difficult, is we don't have a class 165, we only have the 166. And really, to get the extra traffic on this route, you'd need the 165. That would help a lot. And then you'd also need the things like the Heathrow Express trains and Heathrow Connect trains. You know, there's a variety of trains you'd need to be able to build it up to the level. It's not like there's one train and runners. You just need to add more of them. It's lots of different types of train, and it would be weird to try and substitute them for strange things. Calidor, how do you mean is that as distinct from the PS controller? Sorry, what was that in response to? If it was in response to driving the 101, all controllers are better than the keyboard when it comes to driving the 101, as far as I'm concerned. And to be honest, when I say Xbox controller, it's identical controls on the PS5 controller compared to the PS controller, compared to the Xbox. So I mean, it's used the phrase interchangeably.
Big Bean Kid said, I think Steam, when it comes, will be a really steep learning curve. That was actually something I remember us being worried about and discussing. We don't want it to be to the point where it's like too hard for people to play. So yeah. It's definitely something we're going to be taking into consideration, isn't it, Matt?
Well, we don't want it to be too hard to play, but we also don't want to dumb it down. So it's fight. It's the usual challenge we have is about balancing, finding the balancing act there.
But that's it. That's all I'm telling you about Steam. No more questions about Steam.
What would the screen on the right show? So this one down here, if I remember rightly, is the ATP screen, and it's got other stuff on it as well. But I think there's when you boot the train up, you can do a self-test through here. When I went, you don't remember what everyone calls the train stroking video, where I went and stroked an HSD for one of the promo videos we did. I was in the cab on there, and the guy who was sort of giving us, showing us around, showed me, and we walked through doing a setup on the HST, and it was all the instructions are on that screen down there.
Monda said, this was probably answered on some earlier stream, but Matt, what's your background? It's a nice looking room. So Matt is working in the office.
I'm in the office.
Look at that, you get a view of the office.
Everyone will be freeze framing that now. What have they forgotten is on a whiteboard?
Spoilers. He's right at the back, hiding away from everybody else when they're in there.
Should this have working ATP? In reality, yes, it should have working ATP, but the tech required to make ATP work didn't exist in the game at this point. Some of the underlying tech for it went in with the ACS64 in the New York route, and then that was then further improved with LZB going in later on. So there is always the possibility of ATP coming into a train in the future. It's not on any cards at the moment, but kind of like a lot of the underlying tech there is now there to support that. But it didn't exist at this point, and there was no time to do that. When you've got to remember, when we bid the GWE route, we had to make passengers a thing. The GSW had no concept of passengers, let alone things like ATP. So we had to make all that stuff work. So that was where the team was busy. We thought that was probably quite important.
Yeah. Some people are not keen on the open plan office.
When it was filled with people before lockdown, I've got to be honest, it wasn't my favourite place to be, just because it gets really loud in here. But post-lockdown, with only 30 of us in this office, it's lovely. It's really lovely. And I'm here quite often, into the small hours, if I'm doing something, and it's blooming lovely here on my own.
I can imagine it's pretty peaceful there right now.
Got the kitchen upstairs for drinks and so forth, and you can just get on.
Yeah.
And if I want to, I can crank the music up as well, because who's going to
stop
there? Me, frankly? No. Twitch text is coming through. Yes, Trig.
No, I do like the office actually when I go in to visit it.
Yeah, there's 3 ships out, three naval vessels out front, and one of which is a submarine. I think the submarine's the cool one personally, but I've always liked submarines.
I like submarines as well.
Does it feel spooky in the office by yourself? Not really. I think it depends how susceptible you are. The dockyard is renowned for it being haunted. In fact, there was a most haunted episode actually at the dockyard. In fact, even worse than that, that episode was filmed in the joiner's shop where Dovetail used to be, but it was before the offices were renovated and Dovetail was able to take that over. So you know, you look at that old Most Haunted episode, and you're actually, that is the old Dovetail episode, office, like I said, before it got turned into offices.
So basically, what you're saying is it's just haunted and spooky, and nobody should be there by themselves.
That's fine though. I mean,
Yeah.
those things don't bother me. What?
Redley just said, I bet DTG has a large coffee machine upstairs like real train drivers do. Do you know what? The kitchen is mega.
It's epic.
It's such a cool space. Nat, have you seen the submarine by Southeastern High Speed yet on your trip to the office? Yes?
Did you see the submarine? It's up by it's on the River Medway as you go over the bridge.
No, I paid no attention to the submarine. I've probably gone past it so many times and not seen it.
What's the opposite? It's an F, isn't it? So can we have some Fs in the chat?
Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, there's a lot of F's in the chat right now. I know. Oh dear. Thank you, Matt.
I love that submarine that's there. I think it's really cool that there's a submarine. You say, the number of people who see it in the route are like, why on earth did you do that? That seems a bit random.
I can't believe I've missed it. Oh gosh.
It's like, well, there is one really there.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, it grounded itself and got stuck. Is the braking quite hard to get right with HST? I mean,
Yeah,
it's quite
Jesus.
consistent at braking, to be honest. I'm just out of practice, which is why I'm coming in walking speed.
I mean, I'm not going to judge. You don't have the HUD on. You're doing better than I do. Oh, yeah, I like Wilf Boy's excuse. Maybe it was submerged when Nat crossed the bridge. That is absolutely it. Yeah, you're
Totally
completely
that. Well, you're getting raided by
yeah, we've got
spammers.
some spam bots. Just ignore it until the mods sort it out.
It looks weirder than many mastery tasks. It is one of those things that you just look at it, unless you know it's there, you just look at it and going, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah. Will there be a route added with submarines near the tracks?
No, submarines are generally near the sea.
Are they?
Not aware of any route, any other route. Are there any routes where you'd see a submarine near the tracks? I mean, you could model the historic dockyard railway, because obviously you got the warship, the submarine, and the old clipper or whatever it is that's out there, and the train literally drives up and down right in front of them. Plymouth Dockyard.
I'm gonna have to take their word for that one. I don't have a clue.
No, me either. Sorry, Trig. What's your question? We're both missing it.
Yeah, sorry,
We're
Trig.
not ignoring you.
Might have missed it while everybody was giving me an F in the chat.
Oh yes, there is subbing in the West Highland Line South, isn't there?
Oh, there you go.
West Highland Line South has, because it's got the naval base.
George Costanza said, will there ever be an Australian route? Many question marks. I mean, I think the usual answer to that is never say never, but if it's not on the roadmap, it's not being worked on. How long is this route?
I want to say 40 miles or thereabouts. It's Paddington to Reading.
Would trams ever be possible in Train Sim World with cars running alongside them?
Well, I mean, if it's part of the UE4 editor, so kind of anything is in theory possible in the fullness of time. Is it possible right now with the game as it stands? No.
Right, we've got Trig's question. Trig 2020 asks, do you know if there's a King's X to Leeds I can do for Virgin Trains? Now, for Virgin Trains, there isn't.
There's no King's Cross to
Unless
Leeds. We haven't got the East Coast Main Line
Train Sim World. What
in
about
Train Sim
TS?
World. You can do bits of King's Cross. So King's Cross to Peterborough in TS1.
Yeah.
There is also a Peterborough to York modern route. And there is a York to Newcastle route. I'm not aware of anyone having done the link to Leeds to give you the White Rose line.
There you go. Now, we've done Germany, right? We've done the UK. Let's go to America.
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 Right, we're doing an 8-car M7. And we are going to do train 707.
Okay.
Right.
Baked Bean Kid said, I love this route. The Long Island Railroad one?
Yeah. Yeah, this is Baked Bean Kid's favourite route.
Okay.
Because you can't do shunting on it. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm wrong, Baked Bean Kid. Let's get the brakes charged up.
Now, if anybody is wondering, obviously we've been streaming for a while now and they're wondering, why are we doing these routes? It's really random selection. It's because they're now available on the Epic Games Store. Yay! And Matt is actually playing on Epic tonight.
Yep. Right, marker lights on, headlights bright, gauge lights on max, cap ceiling light off, wipers don't need those, we need those. Right, I think we've got all of the toys operated that need to be operated. So I'll look outside. No, we haven't got all the toys operated. We do need marker lights turned off. So we can night now. Yes.
Crazy Dash said, since you guys are nearing release of Sherman Hill and Horseshoe Curve, are you guys going to work on another US passenger route? Don't get me wrong, I like US freight, but I prefer US passenger.
I guess you'll find out at some point what the next route will be.
Spoilers. Wait, that sounded an awful lot like I was like hinting towards something. That wasn't a hint towards anything. That's just we can't give you any news because I don't actually know yet.
Good shot on the safety systems. Let's get those plugged in.
Oh god, the speculation that's going to result from that now.
Got a green light. Let's give it a go. What's the speed limit coming out of here? Oh, it doesn't last long until we get so down at Country, whatever the heck the name of that station is. It's Country Park Holt or something. It's really slow and tedious. But for at least a little bit, we get some speed.
Look, you go. Pep, yeah, Mufan said, the Long Island Railroad, I do need to come back towards this route. After all, I still have a few things I need to clear. Cool. Have you done the horn?
I've now done the horn.
Ooh, Mario's asked a question with many caps. So, I'm not going to shout it, but why do most trains have two types of horns, high and low map?
So UK trains, or a lot of trains have them. They use them for different reasons, different purposes, and some of it's historic and not really used anymore. So in the UK, for example, pretty much the rules now I think are to only use the low tone. But the two tones are there. I'm not entirely sure what the reason is for the two tones. I imagine that it provides a contrast, so that because it's not in the UK, we don't have, like the Americans have got, these horns that can be heard from 3 states away. We don't really have anything like that. We have
We heard from 3 states away, huh?
yeah. Our horns are fundamentally a lot quieter and more frankly British and reserved. And I think maybe the two tones cut through different distances. So, but no, these days they generally only use the low tone. I think Germany rarely, if ever, uses their horn. Oh, so that they're not confused with cars at level crossings. Oh, okay.
Well, that's interesting.
Deltic is the best sounding diesel ever. I'm not going to disagree. Deltic is phenomenal. Yeah, these days two-tone horns are mostly there for musical purposes. And when rail tour services play like Star Wars things on them and things like that.
On WCL, why does Derek speak so slowly in the route intro and trainings?
It's not Derek. I've no idea who that is. A Rivet product, and Rivet did the VO for that one, so it'd be someone at Rivet, I assume.
Probably, so it's very clear. That's my guess.
Yes, it's one thing. It's one thing. Where when you're used to playing the game and so forth, you kind of want the game to go at your speed. But there's a lot of people out there playing the game that just want the game to slow down and let them keep up with it. So.
Yeah. Jack Arkwright said, Nat, do you play the game a lot for fun? I find that I play the game a lot when something new is coming out and you guys don't have access to it yet. I feel that I can't help it. I like getting to it first. It's very fun. Can we have realistic train crashes, please? So that is actually never going to happen.
I was going to say, we can give you a firm answer on that one, and that's a no.
Yeah. And I can give you the reason for it as well. So obviously Dovetail, we try really hard to create non-violent games. Well, we don't try really hard, we just do. So it's why when it crashes, it just goes to a blank screen, because we don't want to sort of glorify violence or anything like that.
The minute you had proper train crashes in here, you wouldn't get any branded trains.
Yeah. I think you should get Sam to emulate guards' buzzer noises with his voice as an optional alternative to default sound. Oh my gosh, could you imagine a sound pack that was just Sam doing all of the noises?
The beatbox edition.
Your passengers, did you see that?
Sorry?
Some of them have just hopped onto the track.
Nice. What the heck's going on there?
I just saw it, like, literally hop onto the track.
Oh, do me a favour, make a note of that. We need to get Adam to look at that.
Yeah, that ain't good.
I hate that when they do that.
I'm just glad she did it before that train came along. We were literally just talking about creating non-violent games.
Ever thought about concept trains? So actually, a lot of people. So TS1 had some stuff that was early concept. So things like the Victory Works did the gas turbine, the UK gas turbine. We did the Union Pacific gas turbine. I don't think they're quite as popular because what most people want is the trains they're familiar with. And so the things that were made a few of and experimented on are less popular. The APT is another good example of one that was very popular, actually. That was in TS1 again. It's not in TSW. It was APTP, wasn't it? Yeah, the APTE was the other one. Oh, hello.
What have you done? No, that doesn't look good. What's happening there? It doesn't look like
it's all fine. It's all fine. When everything's flashing and all the screen turns red, that's exactly what's supposed to happen.
I don't know much about trains, but I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to happen.
Now I've got to put it in brake. So what I wanted to do was demonstrate to everyone how you recover from an emergency stop on this train, because it actually is a little bit different.
It's very generous of you, Matt.
That's very. So you need to put it into max brake, put it down here, and then you recharge the brakes. Otherwise, it won't let you go again. That's what everyone gets confused on that one.
Oh yeah, you can actually see it charging.
There you go. We've finished charging brakes, and now we can go again.
Vogrex asked, have you guys thought about doing some events, community goals, where a train livery would be a reward rather than papers and such? Do you know, that's actually something we have considered. And we know that a lot of the community challenges, often the rewards are sort of, should we say, lackluster. They're not always appreciated. But then if we gave out something like a livery, we don't want people to feel left out if they can't achieve it. So it's kind of a balance we're trying to meet, where we give you a reward that is still worth your time, but without making other people feel completely left out if they don't get it. So we're working on it. But
so the other challenge with liveries is it only appeals to a very small percentage of the audience in each particular case. So if the livery was a talent 2 in whatever, then unless you like German trains and talent 2s, it's of no interest to you whatsoever. So it's a real challenge to do something like that. Or you end up doing, liveries in all the different trains, and that just starts to become an immense amount of work for what people would see as one extra prize. So we're still trying to work out the right way of doing that. I've got some ideas, but it's because I quite like the way that, I don't know if anyone here has played Wreckfest. I might have played it a little bit. It's got quite an interesting system for that kind of thing, which I'm keen for us to explore. Yeah,
I think it's definitely something we've had a lot of conversations about, really, because we want to make it more enjoyable for everybody as well. Like when you do these challenges as a community, we want it to be worth your time, and we also want you to enjoy it as well. So yeah.
My favourite flavour from Ben & Jerry's, caramel choo-choo.
That is your favourite? Is it because it's got choo-choo in the name?
No, I like caramel and ice cream, but...
Choo-choo.
I just love the fact that it's called caramel choo-choo as well.
What about Haagen-Dazs? I'm not that keen on Haagen-Dazs.
Haagen-Dazs pralines are cream.
I'm going to be honest, I don't really eat Haagen-Dazs.
It's been a long time since I've had Haagen-Dazs, I've got to say. But when I do, it's got to be a pralines and cream. In fact, dang it, I'm going to go to Tesco's after this.
A cookie dough person.
Oh, no, I'm not a cookie dough person.
Oh, I love it. I get really upset when there's not enough cookie dough in it. Like, if they skimp on the cookie dough.
Have you seen that Ben & Jerry's have, bags of cookie dough now?
No.
You know the cookie dough bits you get in the ice cream cookie dough, yeah? You can buy bags of just that now.
What? Well, this changes things. Oh, of course, Gareth Hubble said Chunky Monkey is a great flavour. I've just realised, different parts of the world have different flavours as well.
Chunky Monkey is over here. That's the banana one, isn't it?
We have it now, but for a while we didn't.
Would a 3455 be considered for London commuter? I mean, everything gets considered. We've got an awful lot of, an awful lot of things to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is really off the table.
No. Until we start looking into it.
Well, even then we'd sometimes just say, well, maybe not right now, maybe later on. We never say, we will never make that train.
Gareth Hubble said, I think Natalie can forgive the streams going long now she's learned about the cookie dough. I'll tell you what, Gareth, right? I'm absolutely making up for the fact that I haven't actually been on the streams for a while. So might as well make it a big long one, hey?
I'm keeping to time here beautifully. Pretending I'm driving a train from the southern region. Look at that magnificent stop.
I love how everyone's talking about ice cream now. If I'm
You
being
like the one with
completely...
little fishes in the you mean fish food? Fish food is nice as well, but I'm not a big fan of chocolate ice cream, so...
I liked the one, you know, like that had the caramel in the middle, and it was like chocolate and caramel, and then there was like massive gooey caramel.
Oh, that was a thing they did for a while, wasn't it? I can't remember what they were called now,
It's
but
like
yeah.
so good. We're supposed to be talking about trains, and all I'm talking about is
Most of the time, whenever I stream, it ends up in a conversation about food. You know?
yeah.
It's just what the community want. Floral Park.
Is there any DLC either of you want added to the game? Oh, now that's a dangerous question.
Yeah, really.
So I'm gonna rephrase it slightly because I don't want it to sound like we're gonna make it happen. If you could add any route into the game map, what would you choose? If you could, hypothetically speaking, it's not actually happening. What would you go pick it?
I mean, personally, I'd like to see a little bit of Welsh narrow gauge, just because it's different. Welsh narrow gauge or a tram route or something, because I think they're unique, they're different. It'd be very easy to pick. Oh, I want to do East Coast Main Line. I want to see West Coast Main Line. I want to see this. You could pick a billion routes, and they'd all be great. But why would they be any more special than any other route? Whereas, a bit of the Festiniog and is it the Welsh Highlanders that it's linked to now? With those and a nice some Welsh steamers that go, the narrow gauge steamers on that route. Be absolutely superb. It's such a beautiful route.
I know Wales relatively well.
No.
Just a smidge.
That's a shocker. Feel like I'm learning things today.
I know, right? It's brand new information.
Double fairly action indeed, old Davey. A bit of double fairly would be good. Talaclin would be another nice railway to see. There was a good model of that in MSTS and actually in the other train simulator, our one. So it's it's good. Oh, Mr. Cube, will there be a Class 313 update that adds DSD sound? No, because the 313 does not have a DSD. So what will actually happen is that the DSD functionality will be removed. Because it's not supposed to be there.
Was this the thing with the DSD and the DVD where the DSD was behaving like the DVD?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember having a conversation with you about this, and I threw out a bunch of technical terms about safety systems, and you looked really surprised that I knew it. I was reading everybody's comments I'll give everybody some clarity, and I wanted to know what was going on with all the different safety systems. And I did a lot of research, and then I called Matt just to clarify that what I'd read was in fact correct. And you should have seen his face when I'd come out with all of this information. He was like, "You don't know that stuff normally." But yes, it's going to be the functionality is going to be removed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not supposed to be there. So at the moment, for the most realism, leave that switched off, because that's essentially what it would do. A proper DSD, you don't really ever interact with in the game. It's there, you're just putting your foot down on the pedal. Whereas it's not a DVD, which is the one that pings every 30 seconds. But at the moment, when you enable the DSD, you get a thing that requires you to acknowledge every 30 seconds, which is wrong. So.
Is it possible to put B for guard bell on all UK commuters?
Possibly. but it's a thing for Adam is when they're going through old stock to see what would go on there. Certainly, because we don't use the bell and any other button for any other UK trains. So
J4V, you made a joke about Blu-ray. I knew someone was gonna do it.
it's when you put the VHS in the cab. That's when you got a problem.
Oh, dear me. We stooped to that part of the stream.
There we go, Moggy. Thank you.
Have you already had a chance for a personal look at the G6?
No, not yet.
I haven't had a chance to drive it, but I have seen it being played.
Oh yeah, totally. Me too. Every time I walk, all the way down the other end of the office to use the loo and come back again, I go past the QA team and they're all sitting there playing it, and I'm like, that looks nice.
Just put on like a fake moustache and say you're new to the QA team and let them play it.
Well, no, I've got it on my system. I just have too many things to work on at the moment. I haven't had a chance to do it, so I'm looking forward to it though, because it looks awesome. All the best trains are ugly, baked bean kid. Would you ever consider becoming a train driver? I'm not sure I have the concentration levels that are required to be a train. I don't know if I'd pass the test. It's quite a difficult test to become a train driver.
That I can believe.
So so I don't know whether or not whether I'd pass it. And to be honest, a bit late now. To be honest, so I'll leave it to best to the people who do it, and I'll just pretend a lot every day.
Yeah, I'm gonna go like based on my quality of virtual train driving. I'm not cut out for real train driving. I have skills in other things. Ferncone said, I got a call yesterday from our state railway. I was selected for a driver position for their commuter and long distance trains.
Oh, well
I'll
done.
be starting my training in January. That is absolutely awesome. Congratulations.
That is very good. And I didn't totally just have the train on two wheels going around those points.
I don't know, I did see that actually. It was a bit speedy. In the US, you can't become an air traffic controller after the age of 30. It's interesting.
I should have stickers for headlights as well, shouldn't I?
So we're currently being asked, like, what's
Jack?
the next US train that's going to be added? What's the next UK one that's going to be added? Take a look at the roadmap if you want to know what's currently being worked on. Anything that hasn't been announced is not going to be announced during this stream.
This is not that stream.
This is not that stream. Well, I mean, if it was, I would get in a fair bit of trouble.
Right, on our way to Hollis. We're not too far from Jamaica now.
Okay.
What does slave loco cutout switch do on the 37? It cuts out the slave loco. Okay, I'll rephrase that differently. What it does is it means that
That gives no information.
what it does is if you've got two 37s coupled together, if you're driving the front one, the back one is the slave one. Cut out slave loco means that one will no longer take power when you apply power, so it'll become a dead loco essentially. So if you were just, for example, navigating around a yard, you might cut out the slave loco. Why waste its fuel? You don't need it. You just haul it round, and then you can cut it in when you actually want it because you need the extra power. Mr. Cube, one of the things that Adam's team is doing is reviewing a bunch of routes about adding PIS boards. Some of that you've already seen. This route, for example, was one of the ones that got the PIS treatment. I don't know what the plan is for getting Schnellverstrecke updated with PIS, but I know it is on a list somewhere. That he's got a big list of things he's looking at. Slave Loco cutout switches. No, MU2A's braking system. And it cuts. A MU2A would cut out the train that you're in. Slave Loco is, I think, only the traction control, and it cuts out the other one, not the one that you're in. So, kind of in the same domain, but with some very important differences.
Ooh, I kind of know the answer to this, but Jack's asked a really nice question, which is, were you always interested in trains, or was it only because you got into game development and this came up? I hope that makes sense. It does make sense. You got the best of both worlds, didn't you, Matt?
So, I have always been into trains for all of my life. And I got in. I started playing Microsoft Train Simulator a long time ago, and got into virtual trains via that. And I used to, and set up a modding community called UK Train Sim, that lasted for. We're still going now. I mean, say lasted, it's still running, but my dad runs it. And then I got the opportunity. I mean, my day job was other things. I was in online banking security and call center systems, and
Really, really, the kind of job you would expect somebody to be in before they go into development, right?
well, I mean, it's. I mean, as a software engineer, I mean, that's what I've been doing. I've been a software engineer all my life, in one way or another. But I don't have a not in games development. I never even dreamed of getting into games development. And then I got the opportunity to join RailSimulator.com, as it was before it became Dovetail, and it was just like, why would I not?
Now, on the topic of changing careers the way you did, or wanting to join the games industry, how possible is it to, like, obviously you're a good example of you're a train enthusiast, so you found your way into the company. If we've got train enthusiasts that think they can help the company, but they have no experience working in the games industry, would that stop them from getting a job?
Not at all. Absolutely not at all. There's as long as you've got a good, sensible head on you, and you can sensibly use your train enthusiasm knowledge, then you can look and see what might interest. So one of the questions we get asked quite a lot in job interviews is, I don't really know UE4. It's like, that's fine, we can teach UE4. That's easy to teach. Teaching train enthusiasm is not. And teaching people to love and care for the stuff that why these trains do these things as well, as much as everything else. You can't teach that stuff. So if you're a train enthusiast and you want to get involved, please do.
Yeah. We have actually hiring for so many positions at the moment.
Massive expansion of the Train
Yeah.
Sim World 2 team at the moment, so
Yeah.
there has never been a better opportunity. Plus, all of our roles now allow UK remote working, which means that you don't even have to, if you're in the UK, you don't even have to come into the office. You can
Do you
work
know
from
what?
home.
We also have Joe in the chat who's literally just said, I'm a train enthusiast on the Train Sim World gameplay team, making scenarios in Train Sim World, got him the foot in the door. And it's stuff like that. Don't be afraid of getting your foot in the door. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mod Derek, for sharing the vacancies in the chat. But yeah.
Yeah, go look at the vacancies. We want to hear from you.
But yeah, I love hearing about how you got the job. It is literally like trains, development, perfect.
It's good fun. It's a dream job, This is the game I used to play, a lot on my own. I've got something like 8,000 hours on Steam, and now I get to come into work every day and help make it.
Yep.
Extremely tired after streaming 2 hours of TSW2. This is just getting started.
Jack said, I'd love to do something like this. However, I'm only 15. I'm a train enthusiast and I do computing at school. Well, keep it up with your studies and stuff. And you never know what's going to be available by the time you finish school and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Pet PM, you fan said I work and volunteered at transport associations as well. I love it. I love like how people can take their passions and get so many different types of jobs because like obviously we're just like a train game, but there's like so many different jobs within like the trains.
Space, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Word I was looking for.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. There's a lot out there, and a lot of skills, a lot of interests.
Liam Ed said, "Do we have to be in the UK for remote work? I believe you have to
Yeah.
have the right to work and live in the UK."
Yeah, you have to be in the UK because of the complexities of tax law, income tax, and all the rest of it. The laws on that are immensely. They're frankly a total minefield.
Yeah.
And the company did explore it once and said it would never do
Yeah.
it again because it was, it was so easy to be breaking the law somewhere
Yes.
that it was just no. So UK remote working is the only remote working option, which is a shame, but this is the world we live in. Am I going to do my Bronx accent now? No, I'm saving that for later, baby. Good.
Oh,
Lock doors. That's Jamaica.
Very nice.
I love Jamaica Station. It's awesome. Just absolute glass monstrosity.
I've been to New York, Penn. Got the train to Boston from there.
I haven't been. The closest I've been to New York is when my plane laid over in Newark.
Okay. I also got the train to Washington. I think I've said this before, but I can't remember what the train was because it was many years ago before I worked at Dovetail and I didn't know I had to pay attention at the time.
I bet you want to go back and kick your past self, don't you?
I really do. Yeah. I was like, why didn't you take a picture? Ooh, that's a good question. Jack Arkwright
the
said, would you ever
heck?
want to live in another country? What just happened? What?
Oh, the corridor connections have gone bump. Can you make a note of that? The M3 corridor connections have gone an issue.
Oh, that's really okay. That
It's
ain't
these
good.
corridor connections here. They're probably origin back to 0 or something.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that along with the passengers that had a death wish.
Yeah. Something got broke there.
Hmm.
Would you ever want to live in another country? I came quite close to moving to America. My wife is American, for those of you that don't know. Originally the plan was to move back to America and do something over there. Well, that was frankly really hard work, so we decided not to.
Fair enough. I dabbled in staying in Australia, but it meant I would have had to have worked as a chef or continued working as a chef, and I didn't want to do that. So I came back and then ended up as the community manager, which I love.
Yeah, I was in Australia for 3 months working with Macquarie Bank doing online banking security. It was fun.
Sounds riveting.
I mean, it's not quite making games riveting, but it had its high points.
Mod Moggy says I want to live on my own island.
We want you to live on your own island as well, Moggy.
Oh, shots fired. Damn.
Well, he opened the door to that one and put the come on in light, didn't he, really? Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, yes, I did. Right, New York Pen. We're direct to New York Pen now. To be honest, Class 3 or 4, when I was out in Sydney CBD for 2-3 months, whatever it was, never saw a single thing.
Yeah,
You
they're
don't really
really not.
see it so much in the CBD area. You see it Central Business District. You don't really see it in that area. You'll see it in the if you go more in the sticks, then you might be more likely to.
You
Um,
occasionally come across some of the giant spiders, but like they're the ones like the really really big ones, the huntsman ones, they're actually harmless, even though they're like the size of your face. Now, what made you choose to work for DTG? So, I knew I wanted to be a community manager, and I volunteered my time for Women in Games, to gain some experience, with the Women in Games community. And through that, I met Gemma, who's our COO at Dovetail, and we hit it off really well. And she told me about the position at Dovetail, and I got to meet some of the people, and I found I really liked it here. So that's what made me want to work for Dovetail.
that's cool. I didn't realise that you were involved in Women's in Game before you joined. I know you are now.
Yeah. To be honest, it all coincided around the same, like 2 weeks. It all happened at once. But yeah, I'm quite involved with the Women in Games, which is great. It's great to have more ladies in the industry.
Definitely, the more the better. It creates a lot of variety and diversity, and
Yeah, absolutely.
I always enjoy working on a more diverse team because you get such a different set of opinions and
Yeah.
set of different approaches and different ways of doing things. Otherwise, it gets really stale, and everyone's idea, the creativity is just not. It's not the same. My last company, it was the dev team was entirely male, and it was just a very different environment. It's the things people were coming up with, the way they were solving them was, there was nothing different there.
Baked Bean Kid actually said, out of interest, do you know of any women that play train sims? So I've been looking. I've been trying to. Obviously, I watch a lot of people who stream. I watch a lot of people that create videos, and there's a few, but it's definitely more male-dominated hobby, I think. But there are definitely women who play. But yeah, I'm always on the lookout for more.
I noticed I know on my own channel when because I got access to the stats for that one, that I was really surprised actually that the percentage, the male to female percentage, was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yes, I
I
remember
thought I
that
was
as well.
expecting it to
Yeah,
be 0.001% versus male,
yeah.
and actually it was I don't know, more like 15% or 20%, something like that. It was I was really pleased to see that split. I mean, it needs to be better, but that's still a lot better than I was expecting.
Yeah, absolutely. Richard the Trainspot said, I don't have any experience with programming. Would you still accept someone that has no experience, such as this?
You don't need
Uh,
programming experience unless you want a programming job, really. There are lots of different jobs out there, and you know what? If you've got no experience whatsoever, QA.
yes, I was going to say QA. Yeah.
I mean, most people's first job in the games industry, unless they've got a particular route in, for people they know or skills and so forth, is through QA. And by going into the QA team, you pick up a lot of skills anyway. You'll be around people, and you'll also, you'll be able to work out what you want to do. You can try things out, and I think I've got two senior producers. That work for me. One of those started as a contracted temporary QA guy.
Wow. That's amazing.
And he has worked his way up the company through gameplay development and so forth. Every console build that you currently play on the console, he put it there. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So Jordan is
Oh,
phenomenal.
it's Jordan.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Jordan.
Rubbish.
What have you just
Oh
done?
wow! I did it proper. How did that even happen?
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Nice.
You
Excellent.
didn't even, yeah, well, way to go and fail it properly. Can Matt have an F in the chat now, please? It's your turn. It's your turn.
Fine, I guess I deserve that. What is
Yes, you do.
Does QA work with worldwide remote working? No. So again, if it's
Yes.
an employee, then it's UK remote working. Someone said, "What's the time commitment?" Well, it's just normal working hours. I mean, as you'd be an employee of the business, and you'd work with the normal working day that everybody else does.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would say that's a good place to stop.
Well, apparently my train thought so. It stopped in a hurry.
It did indeed. We didn't quite make it to New York first.
No, we got to Woodside, and that was it.
Um, well, thank you to everybody for joining us. It's been a really good one tonight. We've covered a lot. We've had some really good chat, and we've had a nice range of questions. So thank you to everybody who's stayed with us for the duration. What day is it? Thursday. So tomorrow we have the pub quiz, I believe, with
Yeah, it's
JD.
JD's pub quiz tomorrow. Yeah.
Just a heads up to anybody who wants to participate in the quiz. It is on Twitch only. This is because Twitch is the only platform that has the features that we need to host it. So if you are wanting to participate, make sure you get your Twitch account set up in time, so you can take part. Are you gonna be giving it a go, Matt?
I'll see if I can. Yeah, I might
Yeah.
sit there in the background so that I don't look too bad when I fail.
Apparently, he's going to be testing some of the questions on us tomorrow morning, so we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always a good quiz. If you haven't been to one before, make the effort. It's
Absolutely.
really JD does a fantastic job. He spends a lot of time putting these together as well.
He does.
So it's well worth it.
And they're often quite nice for just something different. So obviously we usually focus on just the game, but this is a good way for the community to get involved and just have a bit of fun together.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right then. Well, I think that's it. And we'll see you tomorrow. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.